Now we're back. It's Friday. Ben's kind of back. He's sort of back. He looks really tired. Ben, it was your last day of like a week and a half of work in a row. You should be happier. Maybe not.
Week and a half. How many days do you usually work in a week?
Well, no, I mean, I'm
How
not
many
going by
days do you
work.
usually work in a week?
Me? I kind of work every day, but
No, you don't. How many days
I kinda
do you
do. I
work in a
kinda-
week? Okay, a normal human being, how many days a week do they work?
probably like 3, maybe 2.5. They're supposed to work like 5 days a week, but really
5
the
days
amount
a
of
week.
time they work is equal to about 2.5.
I worked 11 days in a row.
That sucks.
So I worked 2 weeks plus a day in a row. So kiss my ass. I'm tired as hell.
Oh,
And I have no energy to do anything. So you better carry the show because I've
I'm
got
gonna
nothing
carry
to
the
say.
this is my show. You
Packers
said-
show in the middle of freaking June, at the end of June, July is boring as crap. There's nothing to talk about. Nobody cares.
Come on,
I have
everybody.
one topic, one Packer topic, one Bucks topic. That's all I've got.
That's all you got. Well, all the Packers are making the rounds, talking up Jordan Love on wherever they can. And what about? Hey, let's do this. This is not exactly Packer, but let's give him a round of applause. Like you got to appreciate, right? Tom Grassi, the dude. Holy crap! Look at him. He's on all these. He does. So he left teaching a couple years ago, right? And he's kind of a comedian, but he's a nerdy comedian. He's certainly not an edgy, like shock comedian. He's a nerd comedian.
He's also
Okay.
not really funny or knowledgeable about football.
Exactly, 100%.
Unfortunately,
But he left teaching to do PackCast full time, and then he somehow got the funding or whatever he did to do this 30 days tour in 32 days, 30 stadiums in 32 days, whatever the hell it was. And he did that. He got the attention of all these people, and now he's on all because it's a slow time of year for the NFL.
Right.
He's on Rich
Smart.
Eisen. He's on all the NFL Network. He's on all these things.
Smart.
Tom Grassi, congratulations.
smart Tom Grassi, smart,
Way to go. Way to go, buddy. I mean, congratulations. Look,
and good at a good charity,
heck yeah.
all that stuff.
And he seems like a really good dude. Really good dude. So I'm happy for him. Now, does
Holy
he give
crap.
you as good a Packer content as us? No, but I'm happy for the guy. What
Look
the
at
hell?
David; he's roasting his nuts off down there.
David! No! 101 degrees tonight. That stinks. That 101 and tonight should not go together. That
No.
doesn't make sense.
I think it's 80 something here.
It's highly
now.
highly inappropriate out there. And this week with all the fire,
Oh,
the
it's
wildfire
74.
stuff was pretty wicked too. So bad weather out there, but that's why it's good to stay inside. David, welcome to the show. Other people come in. We have the feature of tonight's show is the top 5 Joneses of all time. That's my list. I was not sure about making it at first, but then I looked at it and I was like, okay, over 100 years, you got to think how many Joneses could there be? And then I tied in with our sponsor for that list, Giant Jones Brewing Company. So Giant Jones Brewing Company sponsoring sort of the top 5 Packer Joneses of all time, feature of tonight's show. But you said you got a couple of things. What do you got? What are your things? Now, last week we celebrated Chris Middleton leaving the Bucks from his player option, and he did give up. He's not going to get paid as much money next year, but he's still going to get more money in his lifetime from the Bucks. Right?
Yeah, that's one of my things. I made a big deal about how Chris Middleton is going to be gone, and he's back.
Thank you for
He
noticing,
signed it.
David. My daughter
Three-year deal for $102 million,
$102 million.
and he gave up $40 million for 1 year to make $102 million in 3 years, which does not add up properly.
When I saw him, here's what I thought. When I really thought, because I thought Chris Middleton, dude, came from nothing, right? Like he was a 2nd round pick. Nobody thought much of him. He was a scrub on Detroit. The Bucks got him. Whatever. Then he works his way up with the Bucks.
Yeah.
We went to that one game. I don't know what year it was. Went to that one
It was
game where
8 years ago.
they scored 84 points, and Money
He
Middleton
scored like 40.
he had like 30 points or whatever, and then so he made himself into something, but is also with the Bucks the whole time. So when I first saw him exit out, and then I saw him saw the rumors of it looks like Chris Middleton's going to return to the Bucks, I was like, you know what? Maybe he was just a stand-up guy, and like, you know what? I'm not really worth this much money anymore with my abilities and the way I can play, but I still have value. Like you mentioned last week, he still has value in a place on a team, a guy that can make shots. And maybe he was going to be a stand-up guy and like take a big pay cut and come back to the team for maybe like, $15 million a year or something like that. I thought maybe that's what Chris Middleton was doing. But no, he was playing the long game, more money over 3 years because he knows if he played one more year at $40 million, he might not get anything after that. Right? Probably.
Based on injury history and the fact that, stuff isn't the greatest when he's out there, yeah. So whatever.
So maybe your theory last week, I mean, it was a good theory. And I have to also say this. It wasn't a good theory. I'm going to say this before we get into our list. Hey, David, thanks so much. We appreciate that. Look forward to Friday nights because of us. We appreciate that. We look forward to Friday nights because of you.
Yeah, it's the only thing I had looking forward to for the last 11 days in a row.
Yeah.
Was knowing that there is an end.
Doesn't have enough energy tonight. No, but I wanted to say this. Our show last week now, that was a great show. And the first 30 minutes was like fire, dude. I
don't think it was a great show.
When we got into the Aaron Rodgers stuff, I mean, who would report that with enough edge and enough meaning and enough grinding on Rodgers better than us? Who would do that better than us?
Mike Florio.
No, nobody. Florio's not even better because Florio is kind of like he doesn't really care because he's not like a Packers fan that's been a Packers fan his whole life. So yeah, he's irritated by Rodgers that Rodgers was a jerk to him and did all this stuff and called his publication like a piece of toilet paper. Whatever
don't read that crap.
Yeah, but he still doesn't have that history, that Packer history to the organization connected to his disdain. So I think we knocked it out of the park. I laughed my ass off during the show. I laughed my ass off when I watched it again and listened to it on the drive to work. It was freaking awesome. And I got a couple of things for you to laugh at tonight. So we'll get into that here. What's your other point before we get to the top
I'm not
five?
feeling the laughing.
Well, fine. If you're a big dud, well then screw you and everybody else that watched it will like it once they get to it. Now, what do you got for
you? Do it.
What's your other piece before we get to the Jones?
Well, I was looking through my old Packer notebook from years and years of Hafman Bros.
Holy cow. You got an old notebook?
And, yeah.
I was going to say, were you going to say anything after that or what?
Well, I found some interesting information.
Uh-oh.
When the Packers drafted Jordan Love, in the press conference after, these were the words by Brian Gutekunst and or Matt LaFleur. I can't remember which one.
I like this.
They said that Jordan Love is humble, hungry, and ready to learn. All things that Aaron Rodgers was not in the spring of 2020. So that was an interesting quote I just found again 3 years later, which led to the reason.
He has a chance to be
he had a chance. Oh, yeah.
That was the one that pissed us off because we're like, if you take this guy in the first round, come on. You got to believe it. I'm not saying he's got a chance. Give me the quote if you got it. The Goody quote. Cover my ass quote. Classic.
Well, I got some interesting quotes from me here.
Okay, what do you got? Golden Strong Ale.
Okay, Goody's quotes. Okay, let's just do it. Let's start. I'm getting fired up.
The Goody quotes. Back to you.
Goody quotes on the drafting of Jordan Love. Goody quotes. On Love, has a chance to be a pretty solid quarterback in the NFL.
That's what it was. That's a ringing endorsement for your new first-round pick.
Yeah. On Aaron Rodgers, he said, we have the best quarterback in the NFL, and we plan to have him for a while competing for championships, which is what they did. They tried for 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Technically 4 years, I guess. No, 3 years.
Too many years.
On the fact that he didn't draft a player who can help immediately, he said, how the board fell didn't feel like there was a game-changing type player there who could help us now, so he took Jordan.
Wait a minute. Hold on a second. Hold on 1 second. Do the Packers ever take a guy that is going to help him right away? I mean, once in a blue moon, but how many times do they take a guy in
Quay Walker
that's sitting on the board and it didn't fall
Jair Alexander played right away. Savage played right away.
Yeah, played right away.
About half of them played right away.
We're going to talk about Darnell Savage.
On the grade differentiation between Queen and Love, Queen was the linebacker that we all wanted. I'm not going to get into our player grades he's a very good player, but we did not, but we did what we did. So
But we did.
that was his quote.
So
And if he reached out to Rodgers before he drafted him, he said, "I haven't connected with Aaron yet. He's obviously been through this, and he's a pro, and this is a long-term decision. He's been around a long time, and it knows what we're playing for right now." So because you didn't contact him, that led to 3 years of crazy town, which then, of course, ended with the end of all things. But I was just saying, I just looked at that. I just thought that was an interesting quote. Humble, hungry, and ready to learn.
I like that. And David pointed out, he said the whole field. With love, the whole
That's
field
true.
is on the table. I like that too.
And my other quick story is about Jordan Love. Apparently, I don't know if this is true or
Mhm.
not. Oh, it is true. He has been seen hanging out with Justin Fields, which is fine, and Wiener Boy. Not a good look. Not a good look, Jordan Love. I understand. Now,
Yeah.
apparently they work together in the offseason or something. They train with the same trainer type guy. But that's not a good look. You don't want to be walking around with Wiener Boy and hanging out with Wiener Boy. And that just happened this week. He was in France or something, hanging out with Wiener Boy in France. Just don't go to any freaking massage therapy places. You know, I don't know. I'm a little concerned about his choice of people he's hanging out with. But that's the other story that I heard this week.
Okay. I have a
So-
maybe I have a reason where it makes it better. So,
Okay.
all right, let's talk about let's give a little thought to this and see if this makes sense. I'm going to say sometimes, especially when you're starting in something new that you haven't really done before, or what, like in Jordan Love's case, never been a starting NFL quarterback before, the guy, all this stuff. To help yourself, help your self-confidence and other things, maybe you surround yourself with people that you're superior to at that and better than, and then that helps make you feel better and gives you more confidence going in. Because you're like, these guys are starting quarterbacks and I'm better than them, so I think I'm going to do pretty good. Maybe that's it. Maybe. And then, because you train with those guys, so it helps make you feel good and boost your confidence, then you're like, well, I'm not going to be a jerk. And, when Deshaun Watson invites me to take me to France and cover all expenses because he has so much more money than me, then maybe I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll go, because I always wanted to go to France. And maybe that's it.
I don't
Is that
know.
helpful? Does that help? I don't know.
I don't know. I don't think it's a good look. Not a fan. That's all.
All right. Well,
Not a fan. But those are my
It
two
is-
stories. Now
it's
I
a
will
little
shut up
sketchy.
for the rest of the show.
all right. Well, hopefully not the whole rest of the show, because we got a couple things to talk about. David brings up, quick thing before we get to the top five, Jones, is just how many years can the Packers get out of Aaron Jones at running back? You mean total, or how many more, David? That's the question. Because right now they already got 6 years out of him, which is quite a bit, But I think, don't you think that if Aaron Jones, I don't know, the way he takes care of himself, he doesn't really look, and I'm going to show you some stuff about Aaron Jones tonight. He is on the list. He made the top 5, everybody, if you didn't know that.
He should be number one.
And he's been pretty productive like the whole time. It's not like it's dipping. And also, you would think if you're going to have the situation where you got, you're splitting carries, or you're giving them maybe 2/3 of the carries or something like that, that kind of going to extend his life a bit, right, as a running back. So I'm going to say, David says how many more? I'm going to say 3 more. If
I
he
think
restructures and, all that.
Well, I don't know how much more restructuring they can do.
Well, they do an extension, right? And they give him some more
They've
guaranteed
already
money.
done that.
I know, but
So-
can't they do that with this? Well, how many years is he out right now? Do you know? On the contract?
He has 2 years with actual money on it, this year and next year. But
Okay.
he's got 3 years after that with fake money that will just add on to the cap once he's released. So,
What if they talk to him about like a release and then sign back kind of a thing?
yeah, but then you're gonna. That's dumb.
Yeah, but he's awesome. It's
yeah,
not
but
dumb when the
he could
guy's
go
awesome.
somewhere else and get more money. because
Yeah,
he's
but
already
he's a
made
pack,
he already
dude.
made the money. I understand that,
He's
but
a
he could easily go and get more money somewhere else.
I know, but Aaron Jones is the man. We'll talk about it. All right.
I know he is the man. I love him. I would say this, David. Compare him to the other running backs from his draft class, and
Mm,
I think a lot of those guys have fallen off a cliff, and he's still up there.
that's true.
Or they get hurt all the time.
Yep.
Christian
That's true.
McCaffrey, what's his face from New Orleans? What's his face? I
Kamara.
can't remember. Kamara. Delvin
Mhm.
Cook. I was watching highlights of Delvin Cook from last year. Wow, did he slow down? He slowed down a big.
Yeah.
Like there was one time where he got the ball, he hit in the open field in the middle of the field, and he looked like he was running with poop in his pants. He was going so slow.
No.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
He did. I mean, he definitely looked slowed down. He also wasn't breaking tackles. He wasn't
Yeah.
not nearly as physical.
I
I
mean-
didn't look up all his stats, but he definitely has deteriorated and
Yeah.
come down. A
And
lot
Aaron
of those
Jones looks
guys,
the same.
yeah, a
And
lot of those guys
get hurt all the time.
a year after they got their big contract extension,
Yeah.
where they already had maybe an injury season in there during their first contract, they were just injured a lot and slowed down.
Joe Mixon. He's another one that was part of that draft class. There's a lot of good running backs in that draft class,
Mhm.
but a lot of those guys have either had injury issues or fallen off the cliff over the last year or so. Where Aaron Jones has been consistent for the last, I mean, if Aaron Rodgers wasn't his quarterback, he'd have another probably 20 touchdowns over the last 3 years. But because of that, he doesn't get them.
All right, let's get into that. Let's get
but-
into it.
Anyways, so I would say, David, I think based on his commitment to the team, based on his work ethic, based on his ability to stay semi-healthy for the most part and avoid big hits, because he's able to kind of just get, guys end up missing him. They always end up getting face masks and stuff because he's just so slippery. I think we got, if we can keep him money-wise, I would say 3 more years. Yeah. He's only 27, 28 or whatever he is, so he's still got a couple more years left in him, I think.
I think so too. And that leads us to, let's get into it. We got to do the list. It's time for the top
Let's do it.
5 Packer Joneses on a June 30th, last Friday of June. Time for the
Last day.
top 5 Packer Joneses of all time, sponsored by Giant Jones Brewing Company, kind of, sort of. He did come out of a small school in Texas, yep, and he got the Green Bay tattoo, all that stuff. What does that say? Tattoos are forever, Ben. I mean, pretty much.
Yeah, that's why I don't have any.
Tattoos are forever, pretty much. So,
I don't
think it
have
says a
nearly
lot.
that much commitment. I mean, I don't even ever wear my wedding ring. Look at that.
Oh,
Mostly because it
terrible.
always falls off.
All right, here we go. It's time for the Green Bay Packers top 5 Joneses of all time, sponsored by Giant Jones Brewing Company, sort of. Now, can you name the Jones on the left?
Yep.
Hopefully. That's James Jones. That's JJ. Can you name the Jones on the right? We just talked about Aaron Jones.
Yep.
Can you name the Jones in the middle?
No. He looks like a bear.
I
Why
got
would
to tell
name
you,
him?
it's sad. He's up in Canada right now trying to salvage his career, saying that football, he's not done with football yet, even though the NFL is pretty much done with him. And that is Dayton Jones, everybody.
Oh, God.
He did not make the list, but this is what he looked like 4 days ago in Montreal, Canada
Wow.
in the CFL.
Look at that gut.
He's looking rough. Poor guy. Now, he's not poor because he took plenty of the Packers' money as a first-round pick,
Yeah.
but he looks sad and kind of in rough shape. So, I don't know. I don't wish anybody ill, but Dayton Jones was a first-round pick. He did not make the list. He had 9 sacks in 59 games over 4 seasons with the Packers. That's not enough production out of a first-round
Yikes.
pick. I'm sorry. Sorry,
pretty
Dayton.
sad.
You did not make the list. Before we go any further, let's give you a couple of things about the list. Okay? Let's go back to this picture. Okay. A couple of interesting things about Packer Joneses here, Ben. Packer Joneses. Let's see. If you were to, the Green Bay Packers have been around for more than 100 years, correct?
Yep.
Over that time, you would expect to see, quite a few Joneses, right? I mean, a lot of players play for the Packers over 100 years. How many Joneses? You
I
wanna
don't remember
guess?
too many. I would say
Well, not many of them have been that impactful. I'll just say that.
10,
There were 18 Joneses
18. Okay.
over the history of the Green Bay Packers. 18. Of those 18, this was a pretty easy list to make because of those 18, only 10 of those 18 Joneses played more than one season with the Packers.
Well, there you go. I just said 10 because that's what I was thinking.
8 of them only played one season. That's pretty sad.
Yeah.
The first Jones with the Green Bay Packers in history, the first Jones was, let me do this. Sorry, I didn't know you were big there. Bruce Jones. He was an offensive guard out of Alabama. Bruce Jones in 1927 and 1928 with the Green Bay Packers. That was the first ever Jones.
I would not have remembered him.
And the most recent Jones, of course, is Caleb Jones, who joined last year. He's a tackle out of Indiana. So there's a couple of overall Jonesy type statistics for you, or factoids about Packers and the Joneses. 18 in the history of the Green Bay Packers. All right, Dayton didn't make it, but this guy did. Number 5.
Wow, number 5
in the history of the Green Bay Packers. Top 5 Joneses is, that's right, Josh Jones, safety Josh Jones. And you may ask yourself, well, how in the hell did Josh Jones make this list? And let me just tell you, he didn't have a lot of competition for spot number 5, okay? Now, there was a man named Terry Jones back in 78 to 84, a D tackle, but he didn't play a heck of a lot. He was more of a backup, played in a handful of games, had, some sacks in there a little bit, but didn't really do a lot in 6 seasons with the Packers. There was, of course, Dayton. He wasn't making it. And most of the other guys, a couple seasons, backup guys. So there haven't been a lot of stellar Joneses over the course of more than 100 years with the Packers. But Josh Jones here, let's look at what he did, okay? He had 29 games on the team, 29 games with the team, 12 starts, only 12 starts. It's 1,232 snaps on defense for Josh Jones. Now, we all knew him. He was a high pick, second-round pick. He was a monster, right? Because he's like 6'2", 220, and fast.
Yeah,
that was what we kept hearing. He was this beast kind of hybrid guy. They were excited about him. And
he had an amazing game against the Bengals
because they unleashed him and they gave him no responsibilities. We're like, go make tackles, and that's what he did, right?
Yep.
He also did some other things. 7 passes defended in those 12 starts, 29 games, 1,232 snaps. Now that's roughly about the amount of snaps in a season for most guys. Maybe it's a little bit more than like a full season of snaps. Because most guys are around 1,000 snaps per season, 900 something to 1,000. So I
guess a starting safety, yes.
So this is like basically, if you look at by snaps and not because it's 12 starts, 29 games, but look at the snaps. So that's maybe like, I don't know, 18 games, 19 games, something like that. So just a little bit more than a season. This was his production. 7 passes defended. He did have an interception. He had 3 sacks. He had 126 tackles. So they didn't all come in that one game against the Bengals. He had 126 tackles. That's a lot of tackles in roughly the equivalent of 18, 19 games from a safety. And he had 7 tackles for a loss. And as I say on here, he may have been a moron, but I think he was more impactful than the current 4-year starter we have at safety. Who is not off the hook? Who earlier this week said what, Ben? What did he say earlier this week?
I have no idea. I don't know.
He said he's ready to get the bad taste out of his mouth of last season. Darnell Savage, the bad taste of last season. Okay? Yeah, okay. Well, let's take a look at Darnell Savage. We just talked about Josh Jones. There's his numbers in 1,232 snaps. Let's take a closer look at Darnell Savage. And the big question with him, of course, is this. Why is he even on the team? And why in the world are they planning on starting him again? The last 2 seasons, 1,857 snaps. Okay? We said Josh Jones did what he did in 1,232 snaps. So this is more than 600 snaps more than what Josh Jones had. 33 games, 30 starts. Now he had 14 passes defended, but in 30 games, 14 passes defended, that's not much. That's not enough from a guy who's supposed to be a rangy safety who doesn't have to really cover people too often, but has the ability to break on plays, right, from what he should be doing. He has only 3 interceptions, 1 fumble recovery, 0 forced fumbles, 0 sacks, 4 tackles for a loss, and 121 tackles. 121 tackles in 30 starts, 33 games in the last 2 seasons, Ben. And I will also tell you this. His first 2 seasons were not much better. They were about the same. They were about the same in terms of his tackles, in terms of all this sort of stuff. This is Darnell Savage. So I ask you this question as I created the list and I got number 5, Josh Jones. And I'm sure a lot of people are like, what in the hell are you thinking? Why is this guy cut so quick? And this guy, we're still going to start. And we still keep him on the team.
Because Goody didn't draft Josh Jones. But Goody cut Josh Jones.
Jesus. Now, I'm not saying Josh Jones was a great player, but
I think he could have been.
Used appropriately, I think he could be a hell of a lot more impactful than this dude. And you were just so quick to kick his butt out of town. I don't get it. That's what, when I did this list and Savage made the comment, I'm like, oh, let's look at you, Darnell Savage. And look how bad that taste you got to get out of your mouth last year. What about the taste from the year before or the first year or any of the years so far in the pros? That taste should be in there for 4 years.
The thing that bothers me the most about Darnell Savage is the thing I showed on highlights last season. I think it was the Lions game, but I can't remember. Or maybe it was the Vikings. I think it was the Lions game. It was 2 plays in a row where he was in coverage. They were playing man coverage. He moved in motion with the guy with the slot. I think it was St. Brown. It was against the Lions. So if you want to go back and watch our show after that game, you'll see this. Maybe I'll bring it up some other time. Savage breaks on a pass, breaks up the pass on 2nd down. Then on 3rd down, they didn't move in motion on that play. He was just in the slot, but he's playing man. The next play, they move St. Brown in motion, and Savage is supposed to come in motion with him, and he's kind of lollygagging it, goofing off, and not working as hard. And, of course, St. Brown works hard. So as soon as the ball snapped, he runs a great route. Savage doesn't break on it, and St. Brown catches the ball on 3rd and 6, and it's 1st down. It gets a 7-yard pass because Savage was slacking it because he just made a great play, and he got all cocky and full of himself. And next play didn't even try because maybe he thought, oh, they're not going to try me again. I just made a great play. And that's why I don't like Savage because I think he has the talent to be great. But he's slacking it and whacking it out there, and that I can't get behind. So, and Josh Jones never slacked it and whacked it. He was just dumb. I mean, come on.
Right? He was not bright, but he was physical. And if you get, it was just so striking with what they did with him in that game against Cincinnati. And you just saw it, and then they never did that again. And you were just like, why? He just showed you what he's good at, and it made a difference in the game and the way your defense played.
They tried to play him at deep safety, and he should have been the slot corner or the slot defender guy.
Yeah.
Or maybe they could have just moved him to like nickel, nickel.
Because even if he wouldn't have been, even if you wouldn't think he's the best cover guy for the slot, you could get physical with the slot receivers. Like he can beat the hell out of them. He's a big, fast dude.
He actually reminds me. Well, no, he actually doesn't. But I mean, he's kind of like Rasul Douglas without the brains and with speed. But he was a good tackler and he was aggressive.
Yeah. Yep.
Where Rasul is aggressive and a good tackler, but he doesn't have the speed. But he makes up for it with super smarts. Like if Rasul had Josh Jones's body and physical skills, he'd be unstoppable.
That's true,
right?
Yeah.
Or the vice versa. If Josh Jones had Rasul's brains, he would have been amazing. Like probably one of the best safeties the Packers have ever had, which we obviously went through the list back when you made that list. There was actually quite a few, but I mean, when you got to put a wide receiver at a top safety in your career or in your 100 years history, it's not that greatest. But anyways, yeah, Josh Jones. It's weird that we've only had he's number 5, but I believe you.
There was nobody better. I'll tell you that. All right, so let's get back into the list here. Again, we'll move on from Darnell Savage. Number 4, you might remember, linebacker Brad Jones. Brad Jones played for the Packers from 2009 to 2014. 76 games, 36 starts. He had 7 passes defended. He had 3 forced fumbles, 1 fumble recovery, 20 quarterback hits in those 36 starts, 10 sacks for Brad Jones, 258 tackles. He was a pretty solid tackler, right? And 26 tackles for a loss. So, not bad. I summed it up here. Solid player for 6 seasons. He won a Super Bowl ring. Now, he was part of the IR group in 2010. He was on the team then, but he didn't get to play because he was out with an injury, but he still got the Super Bowl ring, so he still is a Super Bowl champion. And he once tackled a 15-year-old fan who ran onto Lambeau Field. as pictured here. And when asked after the game, why did he tackle that youngster, that young man who just wanted to jump and run around in Lambeau Field on a cold day, he said, well, I mostly did it because I was cold and I wanted somebody's body heat near me and wanted to warm up a little bit. That's what he said. I don't know why. I don't know if that's true enough. That's a quote he gave after the game. As a side note, Brad Jones he's on LinkedIn. He's 37 years old now, and he's doing successful in business. So congrats to him. But he was a pretty solid Packer, and he's number 4 on the top 5 Packer Joneses of all time.
He was also a pretty smart guy. I remember interviews with him. He seemed very intelligent. I think he was drafted the same year as Clay Matthews. So they drafted 2 outside linebackers that season, and he was part of the group with Frank Zombo and Eric Walden and Clay Matthews, and that was a really good group of young guys who attacked and played good at outside linebacker. And they could do both things. They could cover with his 7-pass defense and all that sort of thing. He could cover a little bit, but also rush the quarterback and play his zone and all that kind of stuff, which is something that, to be quite honest, the guys at Goody drafts can't do and signs. And I think that actually hurts our defense. And a lot of people complain about, saying our defense is bad and whatever, and they have all these first-round picks. And yes, they do. But they don't play the defense they don't draft the guys based on the defense they want to run half the time. So, I don't know. Like, Rashawn Gary he can't drop back in coverage. Preston Smith is terrible at it. Luke Van Ness is never going to drop back in coverage, I would assume, unless he drops back like a BJ Raji type thing in the middle of the field and sits there. But on the opposite of that, Eric Walden, Frank Zombo, Brad Jones, and Clay Matthews all could drop back in coverage and come at any time, and you wouldn't know which guy was coming from which way. So, yeah, he was a good, solid guy. He was never like a superstar or anything, but solid player, good Packer for his career with us, and yeah, I have fond memories of Brad Jones.
He was also nearly number 3 of the top 5. This was the hardest. Like I said, this is a pretty easy list to make, but this was the hard choice between number 4 and number 3. I almost went with him for number 3 because he had 6 seasons on the team, 258 tackles and 26 tackles for a loss, nothing to sneeze at. Okay. He also won the Super Bowl. So anyway, but I had to give the nod as the number 3
Honolulu
Packer. Number 3 Jones of all time for the Green Bay Packers is Sean Jones. Sean Jones. He only played 3 seasons on the Packers I think it was the last 3 of his career, 94 to 96. 47 games, he had 47 starts. I had to give him the nod because he had some
24
really
sacks.
Impactful plays. He had 10.5 sacks his first season with the Packers, 9 his second season, and then he only had 5 in his last season, which was the season they won the Super Bowl, ironically. But he had 7 forced fumbles and 5 fumble recoveries in those 3 seasons. That's quite a bit of impactful turnover plays on defense. He also scored a defensive touchdown. And, 24.5 sacks for the Pack, 113 for his career. That factored in a little bit for me just looking at the players because they were close in my mind. And 145 tackles for a defensive end in 3 years is pretty darn good.
Well, that's because everybody ran at him instead of running at Reggie.
Well, yeah. I get it. But they also played a 4-3, a little different than so he's kind of playing like where the outside linebackers would be, so it's kind of similar. Now, some other notes. He was old, but still a pretty good player for those 3 seasons. Won the Super Bowl in 1996 with the team. And that Super Bowl, to me, a little more probably, not a little more impactful for the fan base because it had been so long than the one in 2010. And then the last point on here is really what also helped give him the nod, which is he referenced himself as a Pro Bowler in more ways than anyone else ever has in the history of all time. I've never heard anyone talk in one interview reference themselves as a Pro Bowler as many times and in so many ways as Sean Jones did. And that also helped give him the nod over Brad Jones for the number 3 spot.
And it also gave him the nickname Honolulu Jones.
Well, yeah. Honolulu, Hawaii.
Pro Bowler.
I'm a Pro Bowler. I'm on the sandy beach. The waves are rolling in. He did it all. He said it all. It was amazing. Anyway, so he's number 3. Sean Honolulu Jones, number 3 on the list. So far, how do we feel? How do we feel about... Mikey Mo's in here. Viking Mo. Why was that a hard choice? Sean Jones much more. Well, come on. You want me? Brad Jones was a good,
I have to agree. I don't know how you
good
could
player.
think.
He tackled
Brad
a
Jones-
15-year-old person that
Brad
ran on the
Jones-
field.
He had 10 sacks in 6 seasons. Sean Jones had 24 and a half sacks in
26
3 seasons.
TFLs, Ben, and 20 quarterback hits for him.
Okay.
All right, fine. All right.
It's
That
not
was
even
the toughest choice. Number 2 is James Jones. Now we get to the really good Jones. Do you realize how good does anybody really remember how good James Jones was for the Packers?
No, because he had a lot of easy drops. So you
He
forget
did.
the good plays he had.
Well, this is what he did. This is his career statistics. 120 games. He was on the Packers from 2007 to 2013, and then once again in 2015 when they had no receivers, and he came back and saved their season and became their go-to receiver.
And made the Pro Bowl with 14 touchdown catches and a hoodie.
Not that year. That was 2012. He had 14. Here, it's all on here. 120 games, 62 starts for James Jones. 360 catches for 5,195 yards. And
a lot of big plays. And he would break tackles.
A career average of 14.4 yards per catch. That's way more than Devontae Adams.
Dwarfs Devontae Adams. But Devontae Adams is the most dominant player Aaron Rodgers ever played with.
Mm-hmm.
Yet James Jones dwarfs his stats.
And James Jones, like we've talked about before, again, not that fast. Somehow he got deep on guys and beat them sometimes. He'd make all the tough catches. And he had strong hands, and he could run. He was one of the best in my lifetime as a Packer fan, one of the best receivers that I've ever seen run after the catch in terms of, not just speed, because he didn't have the speed, but he could break tackles. He could run through, like the most physical runner other than Sterling Sharp that I remember in my Packer lifetime as a wide receiver running after the catch.
I would agree. Just a lot of guys bounced off him. A lot of his big plays where he was covered and the ball would come and it was a great pass by Aaron Rodgers and he'd catch it. He was
never that open.
No, he was never open. And there's a guy hanging all over him, but James Jones would secure it with 2 arms and he'd usually catch it with both of his arms, with his forearms. He didn't catch with his hands a lot of times, to be quite honest. But that's better than Antonio. That's why when Antonio broke his arm that one time, remember, Antonio could still catch because he could never catch with his hands anyway, so he always caught with his arms. So that's why with Antonio with a broken arm didn't matter that year. Mo remembers Antonio. Remember that game against the Vikings, Mo, when Antonio caught the ball that bounced off the one guy and he caught it on his back, and then he picked it up and ran in for the end zone. Remember that, Mo? Anyways. But James Jones was similar to Antonio, except he had the girth and the sizeability of a guy who could just bounce. Guys just bounced off him. Corners bounced off him. They didn't break him down. And that's why
he
had
a cocky jerk face.
Right.
He was pretty awesome.
That's why he had all those yards. Yeah.
So
I think he dropped less balls than Devontae Adams over his career by a lot.
Maybe. Maybe.
Whatever.
But
yet Devontae Adams is so great.
He made some pretty impressive tough catches. Now get this here.
Yeah.
45 touchdowns. So 360 catches, over 5,000 yards, and 45 touchdowns. That's pretty damn good. 14 touchdowns in 2012. He had led the team with 14 touchdowns in 2012. His last season when he came back and they had nobody because Jordy got hurt, when he was the primary target, 50 catches, 890 yards, and 8 touchdowns after everybody cast him aside, didn't want him. The Giants didn't want him. The Raiders didn't want him. Nobody wanted him. And that season, he had 17.8 yards per catch, Ben. That 50 for 890 is 17.8 yards per catch.
And now he's on an NFL Network and a great ambassador for the Packers.
He also had 1 solo tackle in his career as a Packer.
Probably off Aaron Rodgers' interception.
And no, it was early on, I think, of special teams. And he brought out the hoodie power. The hoodie power of James Jones in 2015. Who could forget?
Yeah.
He's a great Packer.
It was great.
Is he not in the Packer Hall of Fame yet?
I doubt it. Seems how Jordy is first getting in there this year, so I would assume that Jordy would make it before James Jones.
I'm going to say it right here. James Jones, get him in the Packer Hall of Fame for crying out loud. Right?
Yeah.
He deserves it. He deserves to be in there. Super Bowl champion as well. I forgot that. He's Super Bowl champion too.
Yeah.
God dang it. James Jones, pretty damn good. Pretty damn good. So we finally got to some of the better Joneses here as we got to the top of the list. Hoodie, they love the hoodie. Okay, well, there's only one Jones left. I'm sure
he's
you
the
know who it
best.
is. He really is. It's Aaron Jones, everybody. Aaron Jones is the number one Packer Jones in the history of the Green Bay Packers. Of course, he's been on the team since 2017 to present. Look at what this young man, still young man, has done. 86 games, 74 starts. He has, get these statistics. This is mind-boggling. 1,035 carries for 5,284 yards. And of those 5,284 yards, he has 2,229 yards after contact on rushing attempts. And I'm going to give you a little bit more on that in a minute. He has 242 catches for 1,843 yards. And on his receiving yards, he has 1,878 yards after the catch.
Which makes no sense.
He actually
Aaron Rodgers can't throw the ball downfield ever. That doesn't make any sense.
It's correct.
That's not right.
When you looked
That's
at his,
not right.
Yes, it is right because I looked at the statistics. And his average air yard per reception is negative. It's a negative air yard per reception. So he has more yards after the catch than he actually has yards gained receiving because he caught so many balls behind the line of scrimmage, which is normal for a running back. I get it. But that's what I thought was a funny statistic. And
That's just stupid. I got to be honest. Why isn't he at least 5 yards downfield? All these dumb, like these freaking outlet passes to him when he's 3 yards behind the line of scrimmage.
He could run over the middle and beat somebody. Oh, but we don't want to throw
or
over
the angle
middle.
route, when he comes out of the backfield and takes it back to the middle of the field.
That's a Rodgers thing
every
too.
time. Yeah, Rodgers will throw in the middle of the field. That's what people see that with this year with Jordan Love.
There you go.
That's a stupid stat. If that's a true stat, that's stupid.
It is. I looked all this stuff up. 60 touchdowns in those 6 seasons, 43 rushing. And get this, he has 350 first downs. So that's rushing and receiving first downs. But 300, like a lot of times running backs will get catches as a dump off when you can't get, the first down and they don't get it. So 350 first downs on his, 1,270 attempts with the ball. It's pretty damn good. So basically every 25 plus %, he'll get a first down if you give him the ball.
I mean, what do you want me to
and
say?
David points out a lot of those times 12 threw it at his feet. That's right. Simply put, he's the man. And of course, we know his crazy yards per carry, 5.1 yards per carry for his career. That's just nutso. Nobody can touch that.
Nobody's close.
Much, right?
Only
Nobody.
Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb has more. And I think it's what's his name? Jim Brown, who just passed away this year. I think there's it's like just those two guys who have more yards per carry than him, with players with 100 carries or more in their careers. Yet Aaron Jones gets no respect. I just saw something today. They had a list of running backs. Aaron Jones was listed at 17 for this season coming up.
Ridiculous. Look at this.
Are you
based
kidding
on
me?
what? Look at what he's done.
That's ridiculous. And then another list they had him at like 8. I'm like, no, the guy's like number 1. He just doesn't get opportunities. If he got as many opportunities as Dalvin Cook or all these other guys or Christian McCaffrey was rated number 1 for some unknown reason, even though he's hurt all the damn time. I mean, Aaron Jones is the best. He's the best. The best combination of man and player in the NFL today is Aaron Jones. And the fact that he was nominated 2 years in a row for the Walter Payton Man of the Year and didn't win is a travesty, and they should have nominated him again this year.
Yeah,
and he better win this year because
ridiculous.
That's bull crap. 3 years in a row, and if he doesn't win, they better nominate him again. And this time, tell everybody, get it right. Get it right. He deserves it.
He's a great teammate, as I put here. And remember, he is the winner of our BPR Best Packer Representative by far, Aaron Jones.
Yeah.
Aaron Jones is so good as being the top Jones on this list. Top 5 Packer Joneses of all time. He needs 2 boards. Here's something else I wanted to show you here real quick. This is what I was talking about before. So Aaron Jones, this is his seasons right here, okay? This is some statistic, 2018, 19, 20, 21, 22. And you can see the attempts. You can see the yards. You can see the first downs here. But you can also see yards before contact is the YBC and the yards after contact. So this is yards before contact on attempt. And yards after contact is the YAC rushing and the YAC per attempt. So if you look right here, in 2019, he had 48% of his yards after contact. 2020, he had 592 of his 1,104 yards after contact. That's 54%. 21, it was almost 50% at 49%. And last season, he had 43% of his yards after contact. He is 5'9", 208 pounds. And this guy, for his career, has almost, basically it's like 45, 46% of his yards after contact. Aaron Jones.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. He's a ridiculous
he's the
person
best.
in an awesome way. He's
He's
good.
the best. He's the best of all time.
So that is the top
There you
5 Packer Joneses of all time. Just to recap, let's give a quick recap here. Here's what we have. We have number 1, Aaron Jones, running back, Ben's favorite Packer. Number 2, James Jones, wide receiver, Hoodie Power. That's right, number 2, James Jones. Number 3, narrowly, was Sean Jones. Honolulu, Hawaii, Pro Bowler on the beach in February. Honolulu, Sean Jones. Number 4 was Brad Jones, who just missed it, but a solid Super Bowl champ while on IR. And number 5 was Josh Jones, better than Darnell Savage, but cut. That is my top 5 Packer Joneses of all time. What do you say about that?
Well, I would say it's a pretty sad list.
What?
There's 2 good guys on there, James Jones and Aaron Jones. I'm surprised we didn't have more good Joneses, like just one that snuck around from somewhere.
I know. It's pretty crazy.
Wasn't there like an offensive lineman named Jones who was kind of good or something once in a while, like in the 80s or something? No?
Nope. I told you, 8 of them only played one season. I wasn't giving those guys any of the nod.
Well, who are the other 5 guys that played more than besides Dayton Jones?
Terry, Daryl, who was a backup cornerback. There were a couple other guys that only played like 2 seasons. Some in the 80s, some in the 70s, 60s, stuff like that. None of them were and they didn't have the starts. They didn't have the game action. So this was it. I know it's surprising to me. I thought over 100 years, Jones is a pretty common name. You would have thought that there would be more guys on the team. But the thing about this that I learned is Josh Jones wasn't as bad as we probably thought.
Well, I knew that. I said that.
And James Jones was a lot better than I think I realized.
I think he was pretty good. I think he's
not saying he's like all-star receiver, but he's pretty damn good.
But he was a top, I would say he was a top 60 receiver in the NFL during his time, which is a starter at one of the 2 spots at receiver.
Mm-hmm.
But he was always like 3rd on the depth chart. That's the other thing. He had 45 touchdowns on a team with Greg Jennings and Donald Driver and Jordy Nelson and, Randall Cobb and all these guys on the team with him. And he still had 45 touchdowns over all those years when he was always usually the 3rd and sometimes 4th guy. So that says a lot for him. And then Aaron Jones, think about his stats, what his stats would look like if he actually was used his first 2 seasons instead of sitting on the bench because Mike McCarthy was stupid. I mean, come on, Aaron Jones would be destroying everybody. And he gets no respect, and it pisses me off. But that's the thing. It's different between me and Aaron Jones. If Aaron Jones had my mentality, he'd be pissed all the time because he gets no damn respect, and people freaking cut him, take him for granted, and he takes less money for people and all this kind of stuff. But Aaron Jones is such a good guy; he doesn't let that stuff bother him. He's just happy to be in the NFL. He's happy to be a member of the Packers. He's happy to represent the Green Bay Packers. He's a proud person. He's happy to be. He loves the fans of Green Bay. Like I said, he's a Donald Driver of this generation. And it's exciting to see him now be the leader of the team pretty much until Jordan Love can pick it up and hopefully become a good guy, though he's got to stop hanging out with Wiener Boy. But anyways, and those are all things that are great. And it's nice to see Aaron Jones be like the face of the team. And it's the first time in quite a few years where I'm I'm excited. I'm excited to just watch games again. I hope I hope they use him properly. But not just him, everybody on the team. AJ Dillon, all the guys. I hope they use all the guys properly. I want to see everybody be successful. I want to see them get the ball in advantageous situations. No more. I mean, when you have more receiving yards, basically, like you said, from catch point than actual yards in the stat book, that's sad.
That's stupid.
That's just sad, because I can remember a couple of nice deep touchdowns he had.
Yeah.
So that just means most of his catches that aren't deep touchdowns are always be like 3 yards behind the line of scrimmage or 2 yards behind the line of scrimmage, which is just stupid. I mean, that's the dumbest stat I've ever seen. 1,874, 1,843. That doesn't make any sense to anybody. That's like a stat where, like, Brett Favre, his first pass to completed to was himself. It's true, right? But it makes no sense. So, I don't know.
And a guy you give the ball to, I mean, you give him the ball and 25% of the time he gets a first down. Over his career. This is not like one game. This is not a couple games. It's not a season. This is 74 starts, 86 games. A quarter of the time he touches the ball, it's a first down. That's pretty damn impressive.
Well, all I'm seeing is if they just gave him the ball every single play, you're getting a first down half the time.
Right? Yeah.
If you're averaging 5.1 yards per carry, I mean, come on.
Right? That too.
That's one of those things with A.J. Dillon. When they drafted A.J. Dillon, I looked at his college stats, and I thought I was impressed when he averaged 4.53, or no, what was it? Where was it? Yeah, he averaged 5.29 yards per carry in college, A.J. Dillon. So, and I was impressed with that, but that was in college. This is the NFL on a team where the offensive line doesn't block. We're the garbage on running plays most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you got freaking Josh Myers out there, and you got Dave Bakhtiari running into freaking Jenkins.
And
oh my God. Yeah. It's just sad.
It's pretty remarkable what he's done. And on top of it, he's such a great person and representative of the team and does everything the right way. I mean, he's just awesome. So even though it's a sad list overall and sad history of Jones with the Packers, we got a couple of really good ones there, especially Aaron Jones at the top. And I just gotta, I mean, I don't know. I gave me a good appreciation of James Jones doing this list too. I'll tell you that. That's pretty damn impressive. James Jones is pretty damn good. 17.8 yards per catch in 2015, Ben. That's pretty good for a slow guy who was old at that point. I don't know how he did it. Damn, James Jones. Hoodie power. That's what it was. Anyway, that's the list. These stats are insane. Like this yards after contact, that's just totally bonkers. Almost half your yards after contact. That's just crazy. And Sean Jones finding that many ways to say Pro Bowler, reference himself, also pretty crazy. All right, that is the list for tonight. Hopefully you all enjoyed it. Hopefully you all agree with it, because it's not really a disputable list, I would say. It's pretty clear cut. But I mean, you make an argument for anybody else to be in the top 5. I'll take that argument. And I don't think it was hard putting them in order either. So that was it. Anyway, that's the list for tonight. Again, sponsored by Giant Jones Brewing Company. And Aaron Jones is number 1 in Giant Jones' eyes and also ours. Anything else before we go, Ben?
Well, I did do a couple of quarterback rankings.
Oh, yeah.
In Packer history.
Okay.
I don't have them on the spreadsheet, though. I just have them written down here in front of me, so it's not going to be as fancy as your stuff is or last week. But I just have 3 guys rated. I took what I think was them playing at their peak. And one of them never even played for the Packers, but I still rated him anyways because he's probably my favorite quarterback of all time. So there you go. I'll tell you, we got a ranking. If you remember last week, the highest ranked player was Patrick Mahomes with a 60 overall. And the guys who were under him was a 59 was Joe Burrow, and then tied at 58 was Herbert and Josh Allen. Well, guess who else is tied at 58? Don Magic Man Makowski.
What?
Based on his 1998
Wow.
season, 1989, not 1998, 1989 season, the Magic Man
Wow.
got a Ben Hafman's quarterback rating of 58, which would make him tied for the third best quarterback today in NFL today, if he played today. That's right. Here's Magic Man stats real quick. Toughness, a 2, because he got hurt a lot, unfortunately. So I had to give him a 2. Arm strength, a 4. Accuracy, a 4. Touch, a 4. Throwing from weird angles, a 5. Anticipation throws, a 4. Read the defense before the snap, a 4. Read the defense after the snap, a 4. Pocket presence, the ability to know what's going on around you when you're in the pocket, a 4. Escape to run out of the pocket, a 3.
I give him a 5 for pocket presence. I'm just gonna say that. Watching.
Well, sometimes he gets
highlights.
sacked. That's how he got hurt. So hang on.
Okay. All right.
Escape to throw, 5. You know that's the case. Called run, 2. Leadership, 4. Intangibles, 5. Because of just the Magic Man persona and the fact that he could bring a dead fan base back to life. That gives you an intangibles of 5 for sure. I mean, you're singing Every Rose Has Its Thorn with Bret Michaels and Poison. You get a 5 for intangibles. And then decision making, a 4. You add that all together, that's a possible 50. It's a 58 out of a possible 75. He's only 2 points lower than Patrick Mahomes is this season. And I would say Patrick Mahomes is at the top of his game in his whole career. So the Magic Man at a 58 rating on the Ben Hafman quarterback ranking scale. And I think some of these are pretty honest. I only gave him 2 5s, intangibles, and weird angle throws because he had a lot of weird angle throws.
Mm-hmm.
But he had a lot of 4s. And he does have a lot of 4s. And he did have a lot of 4s. And that was part of the thing that made him so good. Another quarterback I did was my personal favorite.
If you can revive a fan base after Randy Wright played quarterback for a while, it's pretty
You deserve
impressive.
a 5 for intangibles. Yeah, I agree.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, my next quarterback is a personal favorite of mine. I have his jersey, his classic Seahawk jersey, before they went to the new dark blue and the green, back when it was ugly blue and another ugly blue. Is Matt Hasselbeck, who never played for the Packers, other than preseason.
That's a shame.
But here's his stats. Toughness, a 4. I don't remember Matt Hasselbeck really getting hurt ever. Maybe once in a blue moon, but he played a lot. Arm strength, a 4. Accuracy, a 5 for sure. Touch, a 5 for sure. Throwing from weird angles, a 4. Very good at that. Anticipation throws, a 5. That's 3 5s already for Matt Hasselbeck. Read the defense before the snap, a 4. Read the defense after a snap, a 4. Pocket presence, a 4. Escape to run, a 2. He wasn't much of a getting in third down. Once in a while, he'd escape to get a third down, but usually he wasn't doing that. Escape to throw, a 3. He wasn't like a Magic Man where he'd run around and make things happen. A called run, a 1. Mostly because they had Sean Alexander, so he never really ran the ball. Leadership, a 4. Intangibles, a 3, because he didn't quite have that makeup of, like a Magic Man or like a, like Gardner Minshew has. Those guys just have some kind of it factor to them. Hasselbeck was kind of a quiet. I mean, he's a 5th or 6th round pick who's just kind of a quiet guy. He had a little toughness to him. Yeah,
personality too, and he's fire.
A little bit. But nobody remembers him for that. Yeah, he had a combat Holmgren, but I'm just saying I don't think he had quite enough. I think 3 is all I'm giving him for intangibles.
All right, okay.
But decision making, I gave him a 5 because he only made one bad decision his entire career, and that was saying, we want the ball and we're going to score, and then throwing it right to Al Harris because his receiver is stupid and didn't try to come for the ball. He ran the wrong route, and everybody blames him. And I saw something on Facebook.
I still blame Mike Holmgren for that. If they had done an out and up double move, If they had done like an out and up on that play, it's a touchdown. They win the game. They walk off the field. But because they're going to be Holmgren predictable and do a 5-yard pass right away, Al Harris is going to gamble on that and pick it off. I blame Holmgren.
Yeah. So, anyways, you add that all together. Matt Hasselbeck, a 57.
Oh, I was going to say 61 on that, but I'm not good at math.
No, he had called runs of 1, kind of dropped him down. Escaped a run of only a 2, it dropped him down. But a lot of 4s, a lot of 5s. I mean, he had 1, 2, 3. He had 4 5s. Decision making, anticipation throws, touch, and accuracy. Matt Hasselbeck could have been Tom Brady, except not likable. But he actually got screwed by the refs in the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
and unlike Brady, who got all the calls, so whatever.
Speaking of Brady, did you have another one, or is that it?
Yeah, I got one more.
Okay, before you go on to the next one, speaking of Brady, just because you brought him up, I don't know, I'm seeing more of these reels and stuff on Facebook, and the reel I just saw yesterday was Ryan Fitzpatrick, like a little snippet from him talking during an interview that he did. And he's like, yeah, I've told this story before, but how it was titled like why Ryan Fitzpatrick hates Tom Brady or hated Tom Brady or whatever. And he said how one of the years he played Brady, because he played in the division a lot. He played with Buffalo. He played with the Jets. He played with Miami. And he said how one of the years, I think he was with Buffalo, and they beat the Patriots, and Brady just like walked off the field or ran off the field, no handshake, no nothing, didn't acknowledge him. And, and Fitzpatrick had a good game and Brady was pissed and whatever. And he's like, yeah, I was pissed after that. I was like, so then I just wanted to play him all the time. And Ryan Fitzpatrick beat not Tom Brady, but beat Tom Brady and his team, like good Patriots teams, a number of times. He beat him when he was playing with the Jets. He beat him when he was playing with Miami, including like the last game of the season. He talked about it was the tank for Tua season. And I remember he got in there because they were like, oh, whatever, we'll just throw old man Fitzpatrick out there because everybody's played him. And he freaking scored, he pulled out a win out of his ass when Miami, everybody thought they sucked and they were going to do nothing until Fitzpatrick got in there and got him some wins and the team believed again. And he beat the Patriots in that last game and kept them from home field advantage in the playoffs. And he said that was like one of his favorite games, one of his favorite memories as a starter. So it's pretty fun to watch. He just straight out saying it. I hate Tom Brady, and this is why, because he pissed me off and didn't respect me. So
yeah.
Anyway,
well,
all right.
Who's your last? Not a likable guy. I got 2 more because I just did one real quick.
Damn, if
that's
we
how
could
fast.
have
That's how fast I do quarterback rankings.
Fitzpatrick and Hasselbeck on our team would have been nice at some point. All right,
would have been nice. All right, I'm going to give you. Here's a stat. This is first. I'm going to give you Brett Favre.
Oh boy!
At the height of his Favre.
Wait a minute. Was this the controlled Favre by Holmgren, or was this like the wild stallion Favre?
No.
Where he could do whatever the hell he wanted afterwards. Where he played more the way he wanted to play versus the way Holmgren controlled him to play.
This is Brett Favre, Super MVP Brett Favre.
Okay, all right.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Toughness 5.
Ooh,
actually, I probably should go higher, but I can't. So 5. Arm strength 5. Accuracy 4. Touch 3.
Weird accuracy angles. 4. Holy crap! All right.
This is peak Brett Favre. Weird angles 4. Anticipation throws 3. Read the defense before the snap 3. Read the defense after the snap 3. Pocket presence 4. Escape to run 3. Escape to throw 3. Called run 2. Leadership 4. Intangibles 4. Decision making 2. Brett Favre, what do you think he has? And you add all those stats together. Do you think he's better or worse than Matt Hasselbeck?
56.
52.
52.
Brett Favre at his best. When he won 3 MVPs.
That is Holmgren
he's still
controlled
5
best.
points less than Matt Hasselbeck at his best. Brett Favre has a 52 quarterback ranking in the Ben Hafen scale. Even though I gave him a bunch of 5s and 4s, but you can't take away dumb from dumb, and that's why two for decision making, 3 for read the defense before the snap, 3 for read the defense after the snap. There's a lot of good stats I gave him, probably better than he should get.
That's true.
And it was still only a 52. That's pretty.
You
sad.
know he didn't read defenses very often.
Well, I gave him a 3 because I was trying to be nice. I didn't want to be too.
It was like
I didn't want to be too angry about it, but.
And he wouldn't analyze or look at any defense. He'd be like, just pick one. Just pick one. Tell me what play to run, and I'll pick one. I'll run it. That's all. Brett Favre, the exact opposite of Aaron Rodgers, who didn't want to run any plays as coach called. He always wanted to think he knew everything and decipher everything before and change everything to what he thought was going to happen. Brett Favre was like, pick one, I'll run it. Like, that's how little he wanted to think. Pick one. I didn't even want 2 choices. It was like, his coach would give him 2 plays. No, just pick one. I'll run it. That's what he'd say all the time.
Mo, it's the truth. This is honest to God quarterback ranking the way it should be done. Ranked in all facets of playing quarterback. Matt Hasselbeck and the Magic Man Don Majkowski are both better than Favre. No, Magic Man is not as good as Matt Mahomes was a 60. Magic Man was a 58 at his highest point. That is leading the league in touchdowns and leading the league in passing yards. Don Majkowski was a 58.
Because
the Vikings ruined. And I got one more for you. Aaron Rodgers at the height.
Oh,
2011, 2010, 2011. Aaron Rodgers. Are you ready?
All right. I'm ready for it.
Toughness of 3. Because he always gets hurt. Sorry.
He does get hurt.
Collarbones. It was one of the 10 greatest moments in Viking history over the last decade of the 2020s.
Yep,
or 2019, whatever, because Aaron Rodgers got hurt. That was the best thing Vikings come up with. Okay. Arm strength, 5. Accuracy, 5. Touch, 4. Throwing from weird angles, 5. Anticipation throws, 3. Read the defense before the snap, 4. Read the defense after the snap, 3. Pocket presence, 4. Escape to run, 3. Escape to throw, 4. Called run, 2. Leadership, 3. Intangibles, 3. Decision making, 5.
I think that's a little too high for leadership, but I'm just saying.
I know, but I'm trying to be nice. So this is the height of Aaron. This is 2011 Aaron Rodgers. This is 50 touchdowns or 49 touchdowns or whatever it was. Aaron Rodgers, like height of Aaron Rodgers power. Aaron Rodgers. What do you think that equals? He's got 5s in 1, 2, 3, 4 spots. Decision making, weird ankle throws, accuracy, and arm strength. All 5s. He only has a 2 in 1 thing, which is called runs. Everything else is a 3 or a 4.
I'm going to say 55. I'm going to say 55, but I wasn't really paying attention, or I'm not very good at math. Well, both.
Very close. 56.
Oh,
56. So Aaron Rodgers, at the height of his power, is still not as good as Matt Hasselbeck or
the Magic
Don
Man.
Majkowski.
Wow.
1989 Don Majkowski.
That makes sense. I see it.
It does make perfect sense.
Because your rating incorporates all these other things. It's not just about the stats and the.
That's right. If it was
the 1 yard touchdown passes, and
that's Brett Favre. He'd have 1,000 1-yard touchdown pass.
I know. And the balls thrown out of bounds that people actually catch because they keep their tippy toes inbounds or their bodies. I never understood why that was good, because it made them go out of bounds right away. Why was that so great?
I don't know.
Why was that so great? Why did people love that so much? Just because most people could. And if I was a receiver, I'd have been pissed. I mean, like, I don't want to have to fall down to catch the ball. I want to catch the ball. And,
so they kind of like that because they don't ever have to get tackled.
Yeah, but you still hit the ground every play.
Mo, this isn't crazy. Mo says this is crazy. It's not crazy. It's genius.
Oh, Viking Mo.
It's all basic common sense. Matt Hasselbeck.
Jonathan's got it.
Oh, what do you say?
He says Rodgers changed after his head bounced off the ground in Detroit. Was it that early?
That happened in 2011.
That's when he had to wear the big helmet. When the big helmet, he thought his head should be bigger too, because he had a bigger helmet. So he thought, I have to have a bigger head with my big helmet. Right? You remember big helmet, dark helmet, big helmet.
I don't, but Detroit is like the worst stadium to play in because they just play in cement. I mean, it's really terrible. And then they have all those little black beads.
And over the years, Aaron Rodgers was not really very good against Detroit, and he also wasn't very good against Minnesota.
No, but he had his greatest pass of all time against Detroit. So
Yeah,
thanks to Richie Rodgers with the great catch.
Richie and all those guys that couldn't judge the ball, that were like
Right,
way
that was
behind the
awesome.
ball. It was
Thank God.
it's hilarious. Well, that's pretty good. I like it. Overall, I think you're once again solid on your rankings because it's rankings. It's not stats. It's rankings based on skill level
That's
and
right.
what they're doing.
And I
what the
think
players have done.
if you look at it with a unbiased mind, it's legit. Don Majkowski, almost as good as Pat Mahomes. Almost. Just 2 notches down. Just as good as Josh Allen and Justin Herbert. The Magic Man, Don Majkowski. And Matt Hasselbeck,
Oh,
only
Mo
1
wants-
point lower.
Mo wants to know Jordan Love's score here.
I
We said it last week, but Mo
can't remember
wasn't.
what it
He
was.
doesn't pay attention. He doesn't go back and watch.
Yeah, well,
He's
I have
got-
it on my. I
he's no
don't have
time
it here.
for
I have
that.
it on my stat sheet. He was
I think
ranked
he
number
was
20.
49, right? Wasn't he like
19.
49?
No, he was higher. He was 48.
48.
He
Yeah,
was 48 because Aaron Rodgers was 47.
That's right.
Aaron Rodgers today is 47.
Yep.
So he's 9 points lower than he was in 2011 at the height of his career. That's
Yep.
kind of sad. Sorry, Aaron Rodgers. That's just sad. Should I do Dante Culpepper really fast? He's a 22. Oh!
Just to recap the feature of the show, in case you didn't tune in, you should watch it though.
Jones. Oh,
Top 5 Packer Joneses of all time. Aaron Jones, number 1. James Jones, number 2. Sean Jones, Honolulu, Hawaii, Pro Bowler, on the beach in February. Sand in my toes. Sean Jones, number 3. Brad Jones, solid linebacker, Super Bowl champ. And Josh Jones, a safety that we cut probably too soon. Had some ability, but was dumb as rocks. What do you want? That is the
true.
top 5 Joneses of all time for the Green Bay Packers.
that is true. I
Well,
think we're done. I think
That's
it's
it for
been a good
tonight,
show.
everybody.
We
It
got
was a
some.
solid
great
show. Ben was a little
Packer
tired early
Joneses.
on, but he
I'm
bounced
still
back.
tired.
I told you some of the Jones stuff would make you excited.
Yeah,
a little
that did make me happy. And then talking about Magic and Hasselbeck and how good they were and how they never got respect. I mean, God, why do I always like the guys that are so good that no one gives them respect? Aaron Jones.
bit. That's the way it goes. Rasul Douglas. Yeah.
Rasul.
Give me
By
a
the
quick
way,
factoid.
let's talk about that.
A couple of factoids that misnomers. We myth bust. You found out a couple of things recently, and you've been telling me them sort of in text or messages. Interesting facts. Again, as we clear up some of the myth about Rasul Douglas's down year last year. Tell us.
Well, I'll just say the first thing is I read an article talking about PFF's grades on players who played in the slot last season. And they compared Rasul Douglas with Jalen Ramsey. And Jalen Ramsey was ranked in the top 10 of players who played in the slot last season by PFF. He was number 10. Rasul Douglas was number 9. He was the 9th best nickel defender when he was playing in the slot at nickel defender, even though all we heard all season was that he sucked and he was not good. But he was the 9th best player at that position all season long. Yet he was bad. And that's all Andy Herman keeps talking about, by the way. Every time he mentions Rasul Douglas, he's like, oh, well, I mean, he'll be starting at the outside corner now, which is good. And Keyshawn Nixon will be in the slot, and he's more aggressive and blah, and he'll be playing great. And I'm like, well, Rasul is just as aggressive. It's just Rasul doesn't have quick twitch like Keyshawn. Keyshawn's quick and fast, where Rasul is bigger and slower, but he's tougher and, smarter. But just thought I want to throw that out there. And then number 2, our good buddy Bruce sent us this thing today talking about the Joe Barry defense and how he ran only 20% man defense last year and 80% zone, and how Jair Alexander, Rasul Douglas, and Eric Stokes all graded highly in man coverage. So they should be running man instead of zone. Except also in that story, it also said that Rasul Douglas was one of the highest rated players in zone coverage as well at cornerback. But the other 2 guys weren't. So all he just proved was that Rasul Douglas is the best corner on the Packers. He's the best tackler. He's the best zone coverage corner. He's one of the best man coverage corners in the NFL. It doesn't make any sense. How does this guy get no respect? And Jair, who had a terrible ranking in zone, much better in man, so that's fine. And doesn't tackle anybody. Gets all the stuff. I don't get it. And the other thing that was weird was they said that Stokes had a good, in the few games he played, he had a high grading at corner, yet he gave up a whole bunch of catches and yards. And that's the whole point. Like that was the other thing. The stat was not based on the production against them. It was based on yards of separation that the receiver gets from the cornerback. That's what the stat was about. On the when the pass was caught or something, or when the pass was, got to where it was supposed to go. It talks about yards of separation between the corner and the receiver when the ball gets there. That's what this stat was talked about in this article Bruce was talking about. Mm-hmm. Where Rasul had a very good score at both man and in zone. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And Stokes had a terrible score in zone, but a really good score in man. However, he has zero awareness where the ball is, and that's why a lot of the balls were caught. So that's the other thing that stupid story doesn't talk about. It says, yes, the separation between him and the receiver was good at the catch point, but the catch was still made.
Because he can't find the ball. Just like Savage can't find the ball. He can't find the ball.
Right. And
Jair's not even that good at finding the ball.
He's better. He's getting better.
Okay, but he's
getting better. I'll give him that.
But he's not as good as he's paid.
But what it proves is to be a good zone corner and you have to be aware of understanding route combinations. Also, keep your eye on both the receiver and the quarterback, which is what Rasul does, which is why there's very little separation. There's not much run after the catch with receivers when Rasul is covering them. Right? If they catch it, he tackles them right away. Well, that's not always the case with the other guys. But anyway, so I thought that was kind of dumb. Just showing once again that Rasul is the man, and I don't understand why everybody else gets all the credit, but, that's the world we live in. Same way with the Magic Man and Hasselbeck get no respect, and Aaron Jones gets no respect. Number 17 running back I saw on the list, like I talked about earlier, for running backs for this season. 17? Are you freaking joking me? Shut up, people.
Just to recap, I still have this in the system. So cornerback 1 here is Jair Alexander. Cornerback 2 is Rasul Douglas. One guy was All-Pro, second team All-Pro, and a Pro Bowler, and got paid 3 times as much, and everybody says how great he is. That's cornerback 1. Cornerback 2, everyone said he had a down season. There's not much difference here between snaps, pass breakups, one more INT, but Douglas had a forced fumble and a fumble recovery, so turnovers are the same. Tackles for a loss are the same. And the other big things are the clearing up the myths. Targets, Jair was targeted 82 times, Douglas 84 times. And all these other stats are pretty similar. 583 yards given up to 572 yards given up. The yards per completion a little higher for Jair, but the tackles, 56 tackles for Jair, 85 tackles for Douglas. Douglas is the best cornerback on the Green Bay Packers. He's the best defensive back on the Green Bay Packers. And not only that, he could play anywhere. He could play slot. He could play outside. He could play safety. He could play any of it, and he could do well. No matter where the hell you put him, you got to have him on the field. So I don't know what the Packers' plans are with Eric Stokes, but Douglas doesn't need to be on the outside, but he needs to be between the lines
the field
at all times.
Yeah, and when Stokes comes back, I don't know. I would hope that he stays off the field. I think
you're gonna waste another first-round pick. You're not gonna see the field.
I don't give a crap. They've already wasted enough guys.
I know.
I mean, they're gonna already cash out the bank for Rashawn Gary after only 1 year of production. We talked about that a couple weeks ago. I know we went on and on and on for way too long because Rick was here and Rick just kept it going. And then I would keep it going, and then he kept it going, and then you kept it going, and we spent like 45 minutes talking about Rashawn Gary. But
yeah, a little too much, but that's all right.
I don't know. That's all right. It's just it's fine. Whatever.
Point is,
just know this.
We clear up stuff on this show, and we also bust the myths. And those were some myths. Those are myths that were going around. He wasn't good in the slot. Wait, he was the 9th best in the slot in the whole league. Best. Like, what the hell?
I don't know. And the other thing, too, A.J. Dillon, top 10 running back in the NFL, according to PFF grades for the last 2 seasons. Yeah, people said last year he had a down year. He was still ranked in the top 10. He was still ranked in the top 10 of all running backs in the NFL. So you tell me, yeah, it's harder to play. Mo's right. It's harder to play. And he was still the 9th best defensive back to play significant snaps and the slot / nickelback defender position. I don't know, Mo. People are dumb.
Riddle me this, Batman. Doesn't make a lot of sense, does it? But one day,
why is my video so far behind my talking?
I don't know. But we will on our show, we'll keep clearing up the myths. We'll keep figuring it out. We'll keep putting the correct information out. And when people, I don't care who grades this stuff or what they say or whatever, we'll go back and check what they say against reality, and we'll show you reality and give you reality on our show. Reality is Rasul Douglas is awesome. Is the best corner on the team. He's not paid like the best corner, but he is. 85 tackles, 4 picks, 5 turnovers total. Guy was there. Guy's awesome. So whatever. Just keep playing the right guys. Maybe the Packers are on the right trend. Don't worry about your draft status. Play the right guys. Ooh, Mo would take Douglas and the Vikings. Yeah, you would. You take it.
Oh, the Vikings don't have anybody.
You can have Eric Stokes. Hey, we trade you some Stokes,
we'll trade
Mo.
you. We'll trade you Eric Stokes for
first round pick.
No, they wouldn't be that dumb.
That.
Actually, Wazy, what's his name? Is an idiot. Maybe they would do that.
Maybe it would trade you to him for a third round pick. Anyway, all right. That's it. Don't forget to go back and check out the top 5 Joneses if you haven't seen it. I think it was a fair list, a good list. You guys be good to yourselves this weekend. Stay out of the heat because the heat sucks. And be good always. And, of course, go Pack Go. And Mo, Vikings are okay. They can finish second.